And I understand you used to perform under the name Blue Pages.
Yeah.
What happened? Who came up with the name? How did that come about?
We came up with a name. We had just kind of gotten to school, and James actually needed a phone book, and he came across, for us, the phone book. The main phone book was the Yellow Pages,
Right.
but then he came across the Blue Pages, which is the government listings in the States. So we were, we
I
needed
need
a
a
name at
new
the time.
ID.
So yeah, we needed a name, and we kind of just stuck with that for a while. But once we all started playing together in college, we decided to drop out of school. We moved to Brooklyn, New York. The music that we were making was just so different from the early days when we first started out. So it just seemed time for a fresh start, new name, and all that good stuff. And came up with American Authors and kept writing and just kind of kept putting our all into our project. And eventually we wrote Believer, followed by Best Day of My Life. We played those songs for some friends, and then played them for friends and friends and friends. And Believer kind of started getting some traction on radio. And Best Day of My Life got picked up for a couple different television commercials over in the States and over in England and France. And that was the start of everything.
That's absolutely awesome stuff. And when you were making the records, obviously everybody reckons that the music is good. That's the only reason you're going to make it. You're going to make it's not good enough. But do you think Best Day of My Life was going to be as massive as it is right now?
No, we didn't. Yeah, funny story because we it was such a, we had gone through so many different transformations as a band, and at this time it was definitely a huge transformation for us. We didn't really know exactly what we were doing. It's not like we went into it being like, cool, stylistically, this is what's going to happen. So with Best Day of My Life, it was just a bunch of different songs and parts and pieces that we were working on at the time that we kind of just threw into the pot and said, well, this is kind of cool with this, and this could work with this, and we put them all together. And at first it was a bit strange, we thought, ugh, I don't know how well this really works, if this is cool or not, so we kind of just sat on it for a couple weeks.
No, I can tell you right now, it definitely works.
Found something cool.
Definitely works. You guys have performed all around the world, really. What's been this could be a hard one though, what's been your most memorable or your most favorite live performance?
Every place is it's really special and different in different ways. I think live performance, as far as shows go, we perform a good amount in Mexico. It's kind of this new thing where we go down to Mexico City, and we just went to Zacatecas and Puebla, and I mean the crowds in Mexico are just unreal. It's like some of the biggest crowds. We played in Zacatecas, which is this beautiful small town, and we played to 25,000 people, which was pretty unreal for us, especially to go somewhere, never even heard of that city before, and to go somewhere so far from home and just see that kind of response and that love was really amazing.
And also just like where they actually had the concert. It was gorgeous. I mean, you had the stage, you had, all the people, and then the backdrop was this beautiful cathedral. So, I mean, everything about that just kind of worked. It was really, really amazing.
I also feel like every place you go in the world, there's something unique about the shows that we play, and it's always amazing when we go to different countries that don't speak English very well, and you see them singing back all the lyrics. It's one of those moments that you can really just always remember. And we're so lucky to be down here for the first time, because this is just a whole new experience for us, and we love it.
First time in SA. I know it's only been a couple of hours, but how's it been so far?
So far, so good. It's
Yeah.
been great. We got good people and going out for good food and good times, so we're excited to just start the journey now.
And I know you guys, everywhere you go, you always meet other talents from other countries, obviously other artists that you connect with and you recognize as good artists. You've met one of our very own in South Africa. I had a chat with him about a month ago. He said he knows you guys very well. I said to him, you do know I'm meeting these guys, so if they don't know you, I'm gonna expose you. So, Cornel Cruz.
Yeah.
You do
I was texting with him this morning.
Oh yeah. How well do you know him, and how did that come about?
We know him really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he actually does spend a lot of time in the States.
Yeah. He's a good guy, and we met him when he started coming over to the United States. James co-wrote I don't know if it's his current single or what it is, but one of his songs, Into the Wild. Yeah. And now he's signed with our label, Island Records in the States. So yeah, we hang out a bunch when he comes over.
He's awesome. Last time he was in New York, we took him to go get Korean barbecue. And he was like, oh, we don't have this in SA. But that's not true, because we were driving yesterday and I saw a Korean barbecue restaurant.
So Connell needs to get out the house a little bit.
Awesome stuff. By the way, Into the Wild is his latest offering. He's also going to be on stage at Mark's Park.
Hey guys, Alberti from People Magazine. I know you guys are releasing a new album soon.
How different is it going to be from your previous album, and what can we expect on it?
So we're back in the studio right now in Brooklyn. We're working on it, and so far it's going really, really well. We have about half of the songs finished, and I think it's kind of like, you know, we're in a very different place than we were in when we wrote the first album. A lot has changed, and we've you know, kind of been through a lot as a band, especially. But so far, I think it's just kind of doing what we already do, but just trying to take it to the next level. You know, incorporating new instruments. A lot of the lyrical content is very similar. It's kind of just about going after your passions and your dreams in life. And now that we've kind of figured out a way to get to this point, kind of where do we go from there? And the pressures that we're feeling now, and everything that's going on with where we've been in the world. But it's not too crazy, you know. It's not like we go from the first album and now it's like a heavy metal album. It's just trying to do what we've already done, but just do it better and take it to the next level and take everything that we've learned and expand on that.
Okay, I can talk from here. They always talk about the dreaded sophomore album pressure. Now you guys obviously broke out with a banging album. So did you kind of feel that? I mean, people had a certain expectation of what you guys have to offer.
Yeah, I felt like what he said, like the first album we had the pressures of living in a tiny little apartment in Brooklyn, like in basically 2 rooms with all of each other, and the pressures of like doing something with yourself and going after your dreams and stuff. And now it's, you have different kind of pressures, like this, exactly you said, the sophomore album, what happens then? All these people are looking at you, and it's the pressure of like still be able to chase your dream and make it a reality for your life and get better at what you do. Because you hope as an artist that at any moment you're going to be able to, I mean, like, as we grow, we're going to get better, we're not going to get worse. I mean, can you imagine at your job if you got worse every day? You know, you hope that you always get better, and that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So we feel those pressures, and we're writing about that, and we're writing about the stress of everyday life now. Before, nobody would care to listen to us when we wrote music, and now it's like, you have people like, oh, when's this, when's this, when's this, when's this? Oh, you know, always calling you now, so you have, so yeah, it's...
Yeah, and I will say, like, you know, the first album, we didn't, like, no one had expectations for us, necessarily. Because, I mean, no one knew American Authors. Now everyone does. Now everyone has these expectations of what we're going to be and everything. But I will say that we've always been really good at learning from our mistakes, or learning from things that maybe we don't like. And the way the first album came about was that we let go. We let go, we just wrote what felt right, we just followed our gut. And I feel like we've tried to do that again, you know, just stay ourselves.
Hi guys, I'm Kanabo from 947. So I'm sure you guys try out new things in all the countries that you visit. Is there anything in Joburg and Cape Town that's on your bucket list?
Yes, shark diving.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Go shark diving, do some climbing, surfing. When I go to a place with a beach, I like to surf. So once we get down to Cape Town, try to get a few days in.
I'm not sure.
Food. Matt will try cocktails and coffee.
And I will walk the beach for miles contemplating my life.
Have
They'll
you
be
tried,
contemplating this new album.
Yeah.
and have you tried any food that's South African yet?
No, I'm
Not really,
think
yeah.
so.
We went out for
So-
Ethiopian last night, so.
Oh, okay.
Zach
But we hear about this sausage I'll make that's supposed to be really good.
That's probably bonus.
Everybody at once.
We heard about the sauce that's in the back. We can't wait to try that.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
Damn.
I do want to go to a winery though. I mean, you guys have amazing wine here, so when we're in Cape Town, I definitely want to at least go have a lunch at the vineyard.
But I'll tell you what though, I've been counting down the days for jumping in the water with some sharks.
Huh?
Cage, we had a
Good luck
cage.
with
Oh my god, I've been posting on our Facebook like, alright, 30 days left.
If you haven't noticed by now, we are big and keen into adventuring, and we love the natural world, and we love going to see sites in different places. So what a better place to be than South Africa? Huh?
Awesome.
Doesn't it have an insane tour schedule? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
I think we did 300 days on the road last year.
Yeah.
So,
How do you cope with
I
that?
mean, that's pretty much it right there.
A lot.
That's usually like two shows a day, where we'll wake up at 7 a.m., we'll do a radio show, like we did this morning, where we'll do a few songs acoustic, and then we'll go to sound check, then have a show at night. So,
How do you cope with it though?
A lot of holding each other.
Really though, I think it's about finding things that you also have at home. So in other words, like, I'm a huge fan of coffee, or I'm a huge fan of different cocktails. So I think when you do things like wherever you are and you try to just really keep part of yourself, that's really how you cope with it.
Oh, plus like you just love music.
That too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a huge thing. Like, no, there's nothing else in this world that I would wake up for at 4 a.m. multiple days in a row. I mean, I quit jobs within 30 minutes because they told me I had to wake up at like 5 a.m. When we were like super poor, I got this job at a French restaurant, and I convinced this French dude to like hire me. He's like, he's asking me all this stuff about different areas of France and stuff. I had no idea. I was just like, just convinced him, and finally hired me. And he was like, all right, so you can come in tomorrow at 5 a.m. And I was like,
it was hilarious too because I was walking with him. He's like, all right, I gotta go to this job interview. So I stepped outside. I was smoking a cigarette. I made a phone call. I get off my phone call and I see him. I'm like, how'd it go? He's like, oh, I quit. That's it, okay.
For me, it's just water and sleep. Drink as much water as you can. Sleep as much as you can throughout the day, just to stay healthy. Exercise and eat right, which I haven't been doing, which I need to start doing.
So you're not coping.
Because I'm coping now because we're kind of off the road, kind of doing our thing. But
I think it's really the
yeah.
passion, though. It's like we're
Yeah.
still at the point where we're excited to be in these new places, and I think it's just waking up and having fun with the adventures that are going to come at you during the day.
feeling blessed.
And alone time. Definitely a must.
When you guys started out, you said that you didn't want to limit your sound. That was kind of very important to you. But these days it seems that it's difficult because the media tends to limit it for you. We saw what happened with Mumford now when they released the new album. Suddenly it's plugged in and electronic and everyone's like, what are you doing? Because they're seen as this folk banjo driven band. So how do you kind of balance that line?
Well, for us, I think Mumford's kind of a different thing because they started off with such a specific sound. For us, we're super influenced by Mumford, and I think you can hear that on our first album. But you can also hear classic rock. You can hear big guitar solos like from Queen and Led Zeppelin. You can hear electronics and hip hop influence on the first album. So for us, it's a bit different because we really went into that album trying to put all of our influences into it and trying to just experiment with different sounds and instruments and all that stuff and put it in. So making this new album, it's still very freeing in that sense where, if we want to do a hip hop song, we kind of, like what Matt was saying, we saw how we did it on the first album and we can either go more forward with that or take a step back with it on the new record. So, I don't know, that's really, that's never been too much of an issue for us at the beginning and even now, and I think we just love having fun with that. It's great to go out and experiment, especially like I keep saying, with new instruments and sounds and just learning different things for a new record.
Yeah, and you really can't worry about that kind of stuff. Everybody's going to pigeonhole you in the way they see fit. But like I said before, as long as you're staying true to yourself, which I think we all do, it doesn't matter.
There was a girl who, I like to go down to the front of the stage and interact with
this
fans.
is inappropriate.
And it's not that crazy, but I don't know. There was a girl we did a college show in Indiana, and I was up there, and this girl yanked the cord out of my monitors out of the back. That was kind of messed up. Like I don't mind crazy people. Like I think the other day someone ran on stage and our tech guy had to grab him off. And I don't mind that. Like it's like I'm sure that person didn't mean any harm. At least I don't think they did. So it's like I don't mind someone running on stage or like hugging or whatever. But I don't like when people act messed up and they pull your monitor out and I can't hear anything. It's like, come on.
I think crazy in a different way too. I mean, you see a lot of our fans will get tattoos of maybe our lyrics or they'll get our logo or anything. And I don't mean crazy in a negative way. I mean, I just think it's crazy that people feel that way. You make people feel strong enough to do something like that.
Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather?
Oh wow.
I gotta go Pacquiao.
Yeah, I gotta go Pacquiao.
I'm gonna go Pacquiao too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
3 Pacquiaos. I'm gonna get 4 Pacquiaos.
I don't know. I don't follow football.
You know what would be amazing? If they both got the KO at the same time.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be great, eh?
Double knockout.
Yeah.